Welcome back everyone, hope you're all having a fantastic day and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we are in Utqiagvik, Alaska, the northernmost city in the United States, and we are going to be traveling from Utqiagvik's Barrow Airport down to Anchorage on Alaska Airlines Flight 50 in the Boeing 737-800. Flight time today is scheduled for 1 hour and 41 minutes, and we are going to be cruising at an altitude of 37,000 feet back on the Batson network. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump inside the cockpit, power up the plane, head south to Anchorage. Alright, welcome to the cockpit of the Boeing 737-800 that's going to be taking us down to Anchorage today. This is the first flight of the day, so the plane is powered off, so we'll go ahead and get everything powered up, get the plane ready to go here. On the overhead panel, we'll start off by getting our battery connected and the ground power powered on. That'll get the plane started up. We'll switch this over to bat bus while I'm here. We'll then come on up to get our IRSs aligned on the left side and the right side. That'll take a few seconds to align. We'll then continue to come on down to our flows. This is all looking good here. This is all looking good here. Get a little bit of the lights turned on the overhead panel. We'll also get the emergency exit armed chime on, the no smoking. And we'll go ahead and also get our window heats on. That is good there. From there, we'll get the pack bleeds set to the APU. And we'll get our cruising altitude in today, which is 37,000 feet on the pressurization panel. That is way too far. There we go. We'll also get our landing altitude in for the aircraft, and that's going to be 150 for Anchorage. And then we can come on down and get the logo light to the on position. And there we go, we are good to go on the overhead panel. We'll also go ahead and get some lights on the lower two panels. So we'll get lights up on this set of the panel, and we'll get lights up on the main panel as well. And there we go, we have the plane powered up, and we can start entering our flight plan in. So here's our route information on the tablet. Call sign is Alaska 50. We are going from Barrow to Anchorage on the 737-800, cost index of 26, 657 miles. And go ahead and start entering all that into the FMC. We'll come on over to here, go into the FMC tab, we'll go into the pause in it page. We're here on the ground at PABR. And we'll go ahead and get the left side GPS selected. We'll go ahead and put that in for our IRS position. Now the plane knows where we are. We'll go ahead and move over to the route tab, and we'll go ahead and do a flight plan request. There it is, Barrow to Anchorage. We'll go ahead and set that, set our payload, and we'll also go ahead and set our fuel for the flight, and we can go ahead and select the route. It's going to take a few seconds to load that in. We don't have any ATC on today, so we'll just be on Unicom all the way down to Anchorage today, unless someone jumps on later on during the trip. And there we go, route on blink is ready, so we'll go ahead and load that. And we'll go ahead and get that into the flight plan. And there we go. We can go ahead and activate that and execute that. And there we go. Our route is in. We'll go into the next page. And those are the two waypoints we're going to be passing through. I can verify on the flight plan that that is correct. So we can go into our departures and arrivals page right now. We'll go into Barrow departures. We'll start getting some stuff entered in. Weather in Barrow today, winds are 050 at 7, 10-mile visibility, temperature is 39 Fahrenheit outside, and the altimeter is 3025. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put the altimeter in now. So 3025. There we go, 3025, set and cross-checked. We can now come back down here to get our departure information in. Since the winds were 050 at 7, we'll go ahead and take runway 8 for our departure. No SIDS out today, we're just going to take off on runway heading and then proceed direct to our first waypoint, so that's looking all good. We can go ahead and execute that. We'll come down to the arrival information for Anchorage. Anchorage currently has a schedule to land on the ILS 7 left, so we'll go ahead and put that in for now. That could change. You don't have to put the arrival information in right at your departure airport. I just do it just so I have a complete flight plan, and I make the changes as we get closer to our arrival point. But that's what we have currently scheduled. The ILS 7 left will have this transition in just for intercepting the ILS today. And we're coming in on the Croto 4 arrival, and we're coming in on the... Actually, looks like we're not coming in with a transition, so we can just go ahead and execute all of that. There we go. We'll come to the legs page, and that is all looking good. There's our one route discontinuity. We'll just move that up. That is correct. We'll go ahead and execute that. The rest of the flight plan is looking good all the way into Anchorage. So we're good to go with our flight plan. All right, next step, we'll go ahead and get our performance information into the aircraft, get that all prepped. We'll start here on the tablet. Runway departure is going to be runway 8. It says 07. They've done a runway change recently at Barrow. It used to be 7, now it is runway 8. The tablet does not have this updated information yet, but the FMC does. Navigraph has the updated information. The airport scenery also says 07. But it's fine. We're taking off of runway 07/08 today. Conditions are dry, takeoff flaps optimum, ratings optimum, anti-ice is going to be off, PAX will be on. We'll go ahead and import our weights and import the weather, and we'll go ahead and calculate all of our V-speeds and information. And there we go, there's all our information. We can go ahead and start entering that into the FMC. We'll come on over to our init ref page. We'll go ahead and first do a performance init request. And there we go. We can go ahead and uplink all that, load that. We'll go ahead and execute that. Go in put in the fuel at 15.5 for our plan. And I'm going to go ahead and verify all these numbers really quickly to make sure they are all correct. All right, everything looks good. The only thing we need to quickly change here is our cruise altitude is actually going to be flight level 370, not 390. Otherwise, everything else is looking good. We can then come on over to our N1 limits. Cell temp today was going to be 42 for our departure. We're going to be using a takeoff 1 derate out. And then we can move on over to our takeoff ref page. We'll go ahead and put flaps 5 in for our departure. Put our CG in, which is going to be 25.4, trim of 4.8. So we'll go ahead and come on down and put that in now. There we go, 4.8's in. Everything else is looking good up here. V speeds, V1 139, VR 140, V2 146. From there, we'll come on up to the autopilot, start getting everything prepped here. Our speed, initial speed is going to be 146, which is the V2 speed. Heading on departure is 080. And since we do not have ATC and also there is no sit out, we're just going to put up our final altitude of 37,000 feet. There we go, 37,000 feet is in, and that's all looking good there. Next, we'll come on down to the radios panel here, start getting some stuff ready here. We are on VATSIM, but since there's no ATC, we just need to put a squawk code in from the auto ATC, and the squawk was given today was 3141, so we'll go ahead and put that in now. 3141 is set, we'll leave it off currently. Next, I'll go ahead and also put the ILS radio frequency in for Anchorage on standby in the radio panels, which is going to be 109.9. Put that in on both sides. And last but not least, we need to get our radios in for today. CTAF frequency today is going to be 123.6. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Get that ready to go for our departure. And I'll go ahead and put that in active now, and then I'll also go ahead and put our Unicom frequency in of 122.8 once we are out of Barrow. And it looks like everything is good on the radios. Boarding's also completed, so we can go ahead and come back up onto the overhead panel. Get one fuel pump on, and we can go ahead and start the APU. Wait for that to power on up. Perfect, APU is up. We can go ahead and switch to the APU gens. And we can go ahead and switch this over to APU gen as well. We can go ahead and disconnect the ground power and get the parking brake set. So I'm going to come back down here. We'll get the parking brake set. We can go ahead and disconnect the ground power and go ahead and clear the stairs away, close the doors, and we'll be ready for taxi here shortly. Also, while the stairs are clearing away, we'll go ahead and do our departure briefing right now. This is going to be a pretty simple departure for us today. We are going out of 8, but what we're going to do is we're going to pull forward, basically because we're coming out of a parallel parking spot rather than backing out. And we're just going to U-turn around here and head down taxiway Alpha, enter runway 8. We'll have to backtrack a little bit, so we'll then U-turn again and we will take off. It's quite a simple departure procedure after that, just runway heading and then a right turn to start heading south. But it's quite an interesting taxi procedure because you have to sort of loop back twice to get in position for takeoff, so it'll be a little fun. Other than that, that's it for our departure briefing. And since we are going to be taxiing straight out, we can just start the engines here at the gate. So let's go ahead and get that all prepped. All right, doors are closed, stairs are pushed back from us, and the chocks have been removed, ground power has been removed. We can go ahead and start the engines right here at the gate since we're going to be taxiing out. We don't need to push back. So we'll go ahead and come on up to the overhead panel, get everything powered up, get the yaw damper on, get the rest of our fuel pumps powered up. We'll get the probe heats on, electrics to the on position. We'll get the beacon light on since we're about to start the engines and we're about to start moving. And we can go ahead and put engine number 2 into the ground position. And we'll go ahead and come back down and start watching our rotation. N2 is currently rising 10%. We'll wait for 23%. We'll introduce fuel. And we'll start engine number 2. Alright, looks like we got a good start on engine number 2. We can go ahead and start engine number 1 now. And starting engine number 1. Alright, we've got 2 good engines up and running. We'll come on up to the overhead panel, switch over to the engine gens. Other way. Thank you. Go ahead and switch to Gen 1. Start putting the packs on. Switch to the APU bleed. Off. Put the engine bleeds on. And we go ahead and take the APU off. And there we go on the overhead panels. Good. We'll go ahead and get our flap set. Flaps 5. While the flaps are extending, we'll go ahead and come down and start doing our final checklist here. We are squawking 3141. We'll go ahead and put that into TARA. Radios are all set. Flaps 5, check. We'll come down to finalize our takeoff speeds. Put those in. There we go. We can go back to our flight plan page. We'll come up here, auto brake to the retracted position. We'll arm the flight directors now. And then we can come on up and verify that everything on the overhead panel is powered off and looking good. And everything is looking good with the only exception of one thing. We need to put the seatbelt sign on. So if you haven't been sitting, now sit down. Okay, departure checklist is all good. We'll go ahead and get the taxi light on. And we will let aircraft around us know that we are starting to move. And we'll go ahead and taxiing out to runway 8. Barrow traffic, Alaska 50, taxiing to runway 8 via Alpha, Barrow. Alright, parking brakes are released. We'll go ahead and throttle up. And we'll head down a little bit down the airport just so we can make the U-turn to get back on the taxi line. And then we'll head back to runway 8. Alright, we'll go ahead and make the U-turn here. Start swinging it around. In case you are wondering, yes, this is how the real aircraft did turn around earlier today. There we go. We're now heading the right direction, down to runway 8. Barrow traffic, Alaska 50, backtracking runway 8, Barrow. Alright, entering the runway, we'll go ahead and get the lights on. Engine start switches to continuous, strobe on, and we can also get the wing light on as well. We don't have much to backtrack, just this little bit here. Go ahead and enter the backtrack now. Turn it all the way around. We'll get lined up on runway 8. Alright. And there we go. We've just lined up on the runway. We'll go ahead and get our auto throttle armed, get the traffic rings on. And we are good to go. Barrow traffic, Alaska 50, taking off runway 8, runway heading, then proceeding direct, Cootie, Barrow. Alright, here we go, throttles up to 50. Start the clock. Stable. And one toga. Takeoff power set. Airspeed alive.
80 knots.
Cross check. Throttle hold, thrust normal.
V1T.
There we go, we're up.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. We're going to go ahead and go LNAV and VNAV. Climb powers in, start making that right turn. Let's go flaps 1. Pitch the nose down a little bit here so we can go ahead and get some speed up as we continue to make that right turn towards our first waypoint of Cootie in 308 miles. And we'll go flaps up. And we'll go ahead and get autopilot on. Take the auto brake back off, lock the gear. And there we go. We are on our way to Anchorage. Alright, here's 10,000. We'll go ahead and let the crew know we've just passed through 10,000. Start getting our lights turned off. Engine start switches back to normal, and the wing light can come off. Alright, we're through 18,000. We can go ahead and go back to standard Barrow. And I also just checked out the weather ahead of us. Looks like it's going to be a pretty smooth flight. No turbulence, no jet streams to worry about. Might have some bumps going over a few of the mountains, getting closer to Anchorage, but otherwise should be a pretty smooth flight all the way down south. And just like that, we have reached 37,000. We can go ahead and get the seatbelt sign off. And you can all move about the cabin. Got about 350 miles till top of descent, so in a little bit we'll do our descent briefing, but in the meantime, I'll see you all closer to descent. Enjoy the views of Alaska en route. Okay, welcome back. We are about 47 miles from top of descent, so we're going to go ahead and start our arrival briefing and also get some stuff into the FMC and the autopilot in preparation for our descent. So let's go ahead and jump into the arrival procedure. We are coming in today on the Kroto 4 arrival. We'll be jumping on the arrival right here at Talkeetna, basically coming in like this, and then we'll start tracking down the arrival. First speed constraint and altitude constraint we have to watch is at Kroto. It's at 250 at or above 9,000. We'll then track this path straight down to our next altitude and speed constraint at Nickel. It'll be 240 on the speed and right at 5,000. And then we'll track west to our next altitude constraint at Cullen, and that'll be at 4,000. Where we'll then start vectoring ourselves to intercept the ILS, runway 7 left. We'll then turn to pick up the ILS into 7 left. We could intercept it at any of these 3 waypoints. I'm just basically going to try and track us in here, intercept the localizer, and then we'll arm the glide slope right about here. We need to be at 1600 at Webby just to descend on the glide path, so we'll bring it down to 1600 to intercept. Our minimums today is going to be 328, and our go-around altitude, we're going to go up to 3,000 and a right heading of 230, which will track us this way out to the hold pattern if we have to do a go-around. Hopefully not. Once we land at Anchorage, we're going to be landing on 7 left. 7 right is closed today, so that's why we're landing on 7 left. And we'll vacate probably either on Charlie or Bravo. I'm going to assume Bravo, so we'll go ahead and vacate here. Backtrack on Kilo, and then we will make a right on Golf, and we'll enter the ramp at Echo. And that'll bring us into the gates where we're parking at Charlie 7. And there's our arrival briefing into Anchorage. Now we're 20 miles from top of descent, so we'll go ahead and start getting some stuff into the FMC and autopilot. We'll go ahead and get our descent winds in, so we'll go ahead and do a descent wind request. That's going to start pre-filling all of that information for us in. And there we go, descent winds uplink ready. We'll go ahead and load that. And there they are, we can go ahead and execute that. And we've got all our descent winds in. We'll go back to our legs page, and then we'll just move on up to the autopilot. We're going to be coming down to 4,000 at the end of the star, so we'll go ahead and put 4,000 in here for our current altitude we want to descend at. And there we go, 4,000's in. We're also going to exit the star at heading 254, so I'm going to go ahead and put 254 in on the heading track, so we have that ready to go for our vectors into 7 left, 254, there we go. And our course heading into Anchorage. Course heading today is going to be 074, so we'll go ahead and put that in on both sides. And there we go. Last things we'll go ahead and do, we'll go ahead and arm the ILS frequencies for 7 left. We'll put those in. And I'm also going to put the CTAF frequency in for Anchorage. CTAF frequency today is going to be 118.3, so we'll go ahead and put that in when we get down below 10,000. And there we go, 1183's in. Everything down in the radio panel is looking good, and we are currently under 5, so we'll go ahead and get the seatbelt sign on. And there we go. We'll start our descent here shortly into Anchorage. Okay, we're through 19,000. Go ahead and get the altimeter set in preparation for 18,000, which in Anchorage today is 29908. There we go, 29908 is ready to go for 18,000. And we're officially through 18,000. We'll go ahead and take us off standard Barrow. With that done, we'll go ahead and get some other things finished up in preparation for landing. We'll get our minimums in, which is going to be 328 today. So we'll go ahead and put that in now. There we go. We'll also come down to the tablet here and get our landing perf information in. We're going to be coming in on 7 left today. Conditions are dry. Flaps 30, packs on, anti-ice off, reversers are all operating. We'll take auto brake 3 and it's a 10,000 foot runway, so we're good there. And everything is working fine, so we'll go ahead and import our weights, import the weather, calculate our landing. Going to be using about half the runway today, and our VREF speed is 148, so we'll go on down to the tablet, into the init ref tab, and we'll go ahead and put in flaps 30 as well. 148 is our approach speed. And we'll also go ahead and put our auto brake to 3 now. And there we go. Alright, we're through 10,000. We'll go ahead and let the crew know we are coming through 10,000. Get our lights back on. And just start switches to continuous, and the wing light can come back on. All lights back on. Crew's been advised. We'll continue our descent. Just passed through 5,000 now, starting to make the turn here to level off at 4,000. I'm going to go ahead and continue our descent down to 1,600 for capture. And I'm also going to take our speed back, so we'll go speed intervene, bring the speed down to 210. And we'll go ahead and probably make the turn here a little bit earlier than what I was initially expecting. Since there's nobody else out there, we can go ahead and turn early to intercept the localizer. And we're lining up now on heading 254, so I'm going to go ahead and go heading select, and I'm going to take the vertical speed over. We'll go ahead and descend at about do 1,000 feet a minute. Keep the descent going, and we'll go ahead and start making a left turn here shortly. Actually, go ahead and start making that turn here now to intercept the localizer. Turn to heading 130. Go ahead and go flaps 1. We'll unlock the gear as well. Let's change the heading a little bit more here. We'll go heading 120 now. I should probably go 100. And we'll go ahead and level off for a little bit as well. We are pretty much on where we need to be for slope, so we'll go ahead and just level off. Descend slightly. Could probably descend at about 500, would be fine. And we'll go ahead and arm VOR loc, so we'll arm the localizer. It should start turning us here. 2,500 checked. Let's go flaps 2. There's low captured. And flaps 5. Go ahead and reduce the speed to 180. And we'll go ahead and also arm approach mode for when the glide slope comes in. Okay, speed's good at 180. We can go ahead and drop the gear. Go flaps 10. Here comes the glide slope. Go flaps 15. Bring the speed down to 160. Glide slope captured. Go and arm the speed brakes. Let's go to final approach speed 148. Flaps 25. And flaps 30. Anchorage traffic, Alaska 50s on a 5-mile final, runway 7 left, Anchorage.
1,000.
1,000 checked, stable. Alright, gear down, 3 green, flaps 30, speed brakes armed. We're looking good. Go ahead and take control of the throttles, my throttles.
500.
500 checked.
400.
My aircraft.
300. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
$100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we're down, reversers up. Decel. $70 knots, reverser stowed. Take the auto brake off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anchorage. Pull the speed brakes back in, manual braking. Looks like we did end up getting on Charlie for our left turn, so a little earlier than what I was expecting. I'll take it. And we'll make the left turn here. Anchorage traffic, Alaska 50s clear of runway 7 left at Charlie, taxiing to the ramp via Charlie, Kilo Echo, Anchorage. Alright, we'll go ahead and take the flaps up. And we'll go ahead and get the flight directors off. We'll go ahead and take our lights off. Except the taxi lights, engine start switches back to normal. Strobe can come off, and the wing can come off, and we'll also get the APU fired up now for our parking. Alright, we're coming into the ramp. Go ahead and get the clock stopped. And we're going into Charlie 7 today. Also get the taxi light off now. I'm going all the way to the end, looks like. Almost to the end. Alright, coming into Charlie 7 now. Looks like this is going to be a fun parking job. Looks like we have to come in and then make a hard right turn to line up with the gate. Start the turn in now. Got the power. Alright, we'll go ahead and park it there. Parking brake set. APU should be up, it is. And there we go. Switch that. And we can go ahead and shut the engines down. Seatbelt sign coming off. And there we are. We've made it to Anchorage. You parked a bit to the right and askew. Well, I'm sorry. If you wanted me to come in straight, you should have put me in a different gate. One that preferably has a straight line rather than a curved line. Alright, let's go ahead and do our final shutdown checklist. We'll come down to the radios. We'll go ahead and turn our squawk code off. Radios are looking good. This is all shut down. Everything here is shut down. We'll come on up to the overhead panel. We'll go ahead and get the yaw damper off. Fuel pumps off. We'll do all of them because we're going to go ahead and switch to the ground power. Switch this to ground power. We'll take the APU off. Take the probes off. Electrics off. We'll take the packs off. We'll take the beacon light off. And there we go. Shutdown checklist complete. So they just told me that the jetway operation is complete and they've hooked up to the aircraft. Think you're a little off. Just a little off. No big deal. Just, to all the passengers on the plane, just watch your step. It's quite a gap. As the bags get unloaded from our plane, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content coming in the future. And I'll see you all in the next one.